Ladies and gentlemen, the forbidden door has been reopened once again here on Sportswire Radio, because not only are you going to see teams from GTM, you are going to also see here one half of the reigning, defending, the most dominant tag team champions in all of professional wrestling. That is, of course, the CCW tag team champions. One half of that. That is Mr. Slugger Hampton, also of top tier. And also next to him is the reigning, defending CCW world champion, the Slam Beast, Mr. Chris Onyx, for the first time here on Sportswire Radio. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get to it. And without further ado, here on the Sports Report, the number one global sports show here on Sportswire Radio, we have GTM's Caters and the modern day Mafia and the reigning, defending CCW world champion, the Slam Beast, Chris Onyx, and one half of the CCW tag team champions from the working class militia, Slugger Hampton. Gents, how are we on a Friday night?
I noticed no respect already. No one clapping the champs. No respect.
He doesn't deserve any respect.
I mean, these two are wearing sunglasses inside, so
yeah, it must be sunny where they are. But we reserve all the respect.
Just as it usually is, the educators are right there, kind of waiting for the opening. Why is it almost like a redo of last week's match at GTM Judgment Day, where we see the modern day Mafia going back and forth with the working class militia and obviously Chris Onyx, and the educators are kind of waiting to pick their spot? Why is it that this always happens that way?
Well,
go on, champ.
Spot. We've got nothing really to prove here with these guys, okay?
Look, wait. Let me get this straight here. Doug Holman, are you telling me that you guys have nothing to prove?
We didn't lose.
No,
but you didn't win.
We didn't got
it's quite clear to anybody who are watching, anyone who are watching that match, let's just get straight to it. Anyone who watched that match, results aside, can see clear as day that the educators were the best tag team. We weren't the ones getting pinned, the smartest. We did the best moves, okay? You know, there's a reason that Slugger's boy DB...
I mean, what was the best moves?
The reason Slugger's boy DB isn't here tonight. He's got a concussion. I can tell you for a fact that's because of my DDT that I did to him. They can deny all the one. I know it's a Gunnar Muttley move that put him out of action, that he can't even talk on a podcast tonight. He's that dizzy. All right?
So, ladies and gentlemen,
we were the most impactful team. We were the smartest team. And you know what? We didn't have Dave Douglas on our team, who ended up getting pinned at the end of that match, okay?
And
so,
stupid Joe Cobra holding somebody back trying to break the pin.
All right, Old School MC2, jump in, because we got some comments already. People are fired up right now, but let's go with Old School MC2. Your turn to talk, because I want to get the tag team champions, one half of them, and the world champion in a second, because certainly they're going to want to respond here. But Old School MC2, it's your turn now to talk.
Imagine, we never actually physically lost. If Joe Cobra hadn't held me back, we'd have broken that count, and then we would have won it. Joe Cobra, being stupid as normal, held me back, so I couldn't break the count on his own partner because he's that stupid, idiotic, and just the chance went away because of Cobra. How do you feel, Dave, with a partner like that? How do you feel? That's what I was going to say.
I know he's got it back.
one of them stupid.
A 5-on-2 match, you know, it's a chuff for anyone, even guys as big and mean as us.
I'm not put all that part. Cobra let you down. I could have brought that count, but the idiot held me back.
Mr. Cobra, I got to let you come in because now certainly old school MC2 has fired the first shot. We're going to get the champions in a second. But Mr. Cobra, certainly you have a lot to, I'm sure, unpack there.
MC2, what is it going to take for me to shut that mouth of yours? Seriously.
A lot more than you've got at the moment, Cobra.
Is that right, boy? Kept it pretty shut the other night, didn't I? With a good, big right hand to it. And gung-ho, you're very quiet, my friend. Did I maybe knock some sense into you when you got head-butted?
And we've got some. Let's get to some comments here first.
Entire podcast off on one.
Jump in, Gung-ho. You were about to say something because I got to get the champions in here because they're the champions.
The champions.
Listen.
The champions is because the bald idiot, those two can't work as a team properly. All right, it's just like my mentor MC2 said.
We got to give the champions their due because they found a way to win. They found a way going into enemy territory from CCW's standpoint, and they did come away there with the goal. Slugger, your turn to respond here because you found a way. You still got the job done. You guys won.
Tom, you see, this is the exact reason neither of these two teams had a chance at winning this gold. And it's case in point, they're obsessed with each other. They've proved that in the first 5 minutes of this conversation. And we've sat back and just been quiet and we've listened. And I just sat there chuckling to myself because I thought, see, you're your own worst enemies. What you guys need to do is have an all-out war, a final battle, and put this to bed, because I think you'll find when you both go separate ways, you're going to become a lot better and you're not going to be as distracted. Me and Riley, before we got to these titles, we beat a team called Pandemic Priest, and they kept jumping us time after time, every month. And it's because we were distracted. And as soon as our minds cleared, we found out a way to beat them. We beat them and we become the champions. You two, you guys are never going to ever get anywhere as long as you're locked in this battle with each other. So get it ended, because the next time we meet, we want an actual challenge. Because modern day Mafia put up a fight. I had a little sleep, as I said on Facebook. Thank you, Mr. Cobra. But I knew my partner had it. Worthy team. Educators. Sneaky, crafty, clever, worthy team. Together in a match with us, we could have sat there with our legs up on the rope and let you destroy each other. You're obsessed. Sort this shit out. Get your minds cleared, and then maybe you'll be holding something like this soon.
Well, I'll get to some of that. I'll get to some comments, but you said something, Champ, that's interesting because obviously you said to these teams, let it get sorted out. But you came, you saw, you conquered. I mean, you're the defending champions. You were here for competition, but you guys came away with a victory. So theoretically, to play devil's advocate here, we'll certainly get some of these guys' sides, and I want to get to Chris Onyx in a second, but you don't have to give them another chance at the ring because you guys got the job done. You went into enemy territory, and you guys won. I mean, you defended CCW's honor, and you came away with that gold still. You don't have to give them another match, certainly not in GTM's house. I mean, from your vantage point, it's over.
You're right. And we did defend the honor of these titles. But more importantly, we defended our own name and our own words, because the words we speak become true. We do not lie. We've said this before on the last show I was here, and I say it a lot because it's fact. We talk universal truths, and we always deliver. These two teams are fantastic. The big boys down here, they give us a fight. The bald guy and the long-haired guy up there, they were sneaky. Maybe in a 2-on-2 in either way, it could have gone differently. But like I said, we used their anger and their beef towards each other to our advantage. We knew it was going to implode. It imploded. It's unfortunate that guy right there, Dave Douglas, was the one that felt the death rattle for the 1, 2, 3. Because he deserved more than that from that match. But when you've got these two sneaky cretins involved, anything can happen. Don't look at me like that, MC2. Your whole career has resolved around sneaky, manipulative behaviour. Just like them just like this guy that follows your every word. Just like your big boy who we're about to meet this weekend, I'm sure. Listens to your every word in the academy because you're a very smart, sneaky manipulator. But like you said, Tom, neither of them deserve a shot now.
I mean,
Not
listen,
until
you
we see
guys
them go
won.
to
Listen,
war.
it's not your fault that the educators in modern-day Mafia don't get along with each other. You were there to do a job. You were there to defend Mr. Barris, to defend CCW, to represent the top tier, and you guys well showed that you're the top tier. Let me get to some comments here before I get to the world champion, Chris Onyx. And Connor Calder says, kicking off already, not surprised. Between the comments here, obviously the shining gold things called belts over the champ's shoulders speak the truth. We agree with that. Certainly the GTM world champion, Jack Johnson, has commented. He says, oh, snot, that's the first time I've heard Mr. Douglas speak. That might actually, now I'm thinking about it, that might be the first time, actually. So there's always a first for everything, right? Simon Williams says, the ref was a decent ref, though. Let's have it for the referee.
Yeah,
I
control that match. Well, as much as he could.
I mean, look, the referees are what, listen, that wasn't the reason why the match was what it was. And we have here a Let's Go MDM chant. So we have MDF fans. And then we have the man that was on the call, Bradley Cook Pattinson. And by the way, Joe, I got to address this for Joel real quick before I get to Chris Onyx. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you say hello, Brenda, rather than Bradley when you came up to the ring for Brad? Because Bradley was saying how much you were his best friend, and you said hello, Brenda.
What can I say? It was the heat of the moment. I mean, me and Brenda, we go back a long way. We go back a long way.
When you're scared, you tend to trip up on your words.
Good
Is
point.
that right?
Listen, this is a good point here. And we've got some working class militia fans here. WCM ass kickers all day. Well, they got the job done here. We've then got also some GTM comments here from Pride, obviously, up-and-coming wrestler in GTM. He says, I, for one, am very glad that the educators and MDM refuting to their own heavy determinant. Imagine if they worked together. Well, they didn't, and that's why they are the world champions and the tag team champions. Chris Onyx, I want to bring you in because I want to hear what you have to say because you're the world champion. You're the reigning, defending CCW world champion. You are the man that everybody in professional wrestling aspires to be right now. Walk me through your impressions of everything here and why they call you the Slam Beast.
Why they call me the Slam Beast? You've seen the breakdown.
Let me finish here. Let me just stop you there 1 minute. I'm sorry to stop you, champ.
Fair enough, mate.
Let me tell you, because Onyx don't need to brag about anything. He proves he's humble. You've seen him. He's humble. He won't insert himself into a match. Anything like that. He won't ever get involved in anyone else's business. That's not Onyx's way. The reason Chris Onyx sits here as the world heavyweight champion of CCW is because he's a different beast to any other solo competitor out there. Now, how many people do you know where it'd take 4 men? And I'm sorry to bring this up, Chris, but it needs addressing. It took 4 men to put this one man down. Not one man, 4. That's why he's the champion.
And it's a big man, and Mustafa Khan included. So listen, if it was one-on-one, you could make the case that, listen, we could very well see, I don't know, the Slam Beast Chris Onyx having all the gold all around the world. And certainly there's somebody here that's going to comment here, and that is obviously the GTM world champion who was supposed to be with us here. He had some scheduling conflicts. He'll be back with us probably next week or possibly the following week, depending on what my schedule is. And he has some comments. He says, Chris Onyx stinks. I'm going to let Chris Onyx address Mr. Johnson first because Mr. Johnson, he was very lucky in his own right to retain the GTM World Championship. And that was really due to Sean only. So, Champ, I'm giving you the floor to address Mr. Johnson.
Yeah. After what we said about him.
Tuesday when we did our own show, we had nothing but good words to say
Respect.
about Jack Johnson. And we even said in another universe, Jack Johnson may even be TT.
potentially.
How
you respect
dare
him.
he
You were
say
on with
that?
us. You said you respected Jack Johnson. There seemed like a respect issue. All of a sudden, Mr. Johnson now thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I mean, maybe in Salford that works, but certainly Chris Onyx is here, and he continues to go on and says he inserted himself in the #1 contender match for my title and lost first. Plus, he stinks. And then he says, I take it back. Sorry, boys. So which one is it here?
Oh, exactly. You don't know. Make your mind up, Jack.
Jack Johnson, if Onyx got hold of him, Onyx would snap him like a twig.
The only one who even worried me a little bit with that great big freak rabbit.
It shouldn't even be in a wrestling ring. Rabbit, what massive freak!
But end of the day, you know, I was there celebrating for me boys. I was there looking over them. You know, this was just a whim that I put myself into that match.
Well, you're a fighting champion,
Exactly.
Chris.
I just thought.
And you can make the case. You did it for the fans. You did it for the people who paid their
I
ticket.
did it to
You
get
weren't supposed to
CCW's
be
name
there.
out
You can
there.
make that case.
Yeah, I did. I got CCW's name out there. I thought, you know, why not? I'm the only proper champion in that ring.
The real champion of the UK.
Exactly. And then
And
maybe
Mr.
we'd see what Jack Johnson had. But, you know,
And Mr. Johnson apparently has
decided-
interjected himself into the discussion because he says, I'll pick you up and me in a tank, ? Take you around Salford, show you a good time.
any day.
He's a little bitch now, clearly.
is.
So yeah, it's all right. Yeah, Jack. Yeah, listen, we'll see you very soon, Jack, and we'll talk in person.
But you know
How
what?
about that,
I'm going to throw this out there before I get to the GTM guys because the CCW champions here, one half of the tag team champions here, Slugger Hampton, and the world champion, Chris Onyx, they came into GTM's house, right? So now I know that GTM has an event coming up, and it's a little bit too late, I think, for the National Cutlery Bowl to do anything, but maybe it should be on the CCW champions' terms now when it comes to GTM wrestlers getting their shots because CCW walked into the Forbidden Door at GTM. Maybe now it's the other turn for GTM's talent if they want to, because you guys came in. You came in to GTM's place and you guys conquered. I mean, and Chris Onyx, you could make the case. It took Rarebit, it took Mustafa Khan, it took Cayman Carlisle, it took Andy, it took all of them to get him down. So, I mean, from your guys' standpoint, I mean, should you even come back to GTM or it should be the GTM guys to come to your house now?
Well, you know, maybe I won't get blindsided, you know, if they came to us.
bullied.
You know, numbers stacked up against me, you know, because it was the only way that he could do it. I'd take any of them on. Literally any on them, one-on-one. I do not care. But when there's 4, this against 1, you know, it's a little bit different, innit? I'd even take 3 because we still saw I stood up after Rarebit.
Like I said Tuesday night, I said a super kick would not have put down Onyx on his own.
Fact.
That's right.
I mean,
A code-breaker. Hang on a minute. Sorry, Tom. A
Sure.
code-breaker and a super kick would not have put him down.
Fact.
A black hole slam, a code-breaker, and a super kick would not have put him down.
Fact.
But the 4th, it was Mustafa Khan. What is he, 7 foot? Driving you down. And I saw it. And like I said, I saw his eyes flash before him. His life, flash before his eyes. Never mind Chris. They were bullies, and it will not happen again. Now, let these idiots talk for a little bit.
Let's get to a few comments here before I get to the GTM guys. And obviously, Mr. Jack Johnson was lucky the ref didn't disqualify him for the amount of times he was complaining to the ref and for shoving the good ref into a Bentley Claymore. That was when the match kind of got out of hand. Mr. Alex Boylan, who we very well know, obviously, is 1/3 of Dangerous, says now they're both wearing sunglasses inside. I'm such an inspiration, meaning the modern day Mafia. Also here, Mr. Johnson says, in all seriousness, Rarebit versus Onyx is something I want to see. So I guess we can definitely discuss that. And we have here, Claire Wilkinson says, poor Onyx was ambushed. You can make that case. I mean, those are certainly things here that you can make the case. And also, if you like what you hear from CCW, let's also promote. They have a big event coming up here next Friday, the National Cutlery Brawl. So you want to find out more information on that, I highly encourage you, go to Facebook right now, join the CCW group. Over 4,000 people have liked the CCW's page. We definitely want to make sure we support those that support us here on Sportswire Radio. You will most certainly see top tier and many other CCW stars that are going to be here. We also have an announcement related to some CCW talent coming on here in the near and distant future. I'll go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you, Tom, 1 minute.
Sure.
But the only talent you want to see, the only talent worth watching at CCW is the working class militia and top tier. I just want to throw that out.
Well, I'll tell you what. Some of the
Without
wrestlers
saying.
some of the wrestlers we're going to have on, you guys might be fans of. So certainly stay tuned for that. Some of them, you guys might have a different perspective on that, but it's going to be a very, very interesting, I think, next few weeks when it comes to Sportswire Radio and CCW. Also, GTM. If you like what you hear from GTM, they have a wrestling church coming up here June the 11th, which I'm sure we'll see a lot of entertainment for, a lot of action. If you like what you hear from GTM, please follow them on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, GT Ministries UK, because you can find matches. You can find this tag team championship match here from last week at Judgment Day on their YouTube page and find out why you might favor the working class militia, you might favor the educators, or you might favor the modern day mafia. I am the host of the Sports Report and the station manager here of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryson. I want to come back here to the educators here because these are the guys here that, again, you didn't win though. I mean, what do you want to say right now? Because there's a lot of people that are kind of perplexed at the ending from GTM standpoint. I mean, what do you want to say? Because there is a point that, I mean, did you guys cost the possibility of GTM bringing those tag team championships home? I mean, what do you want to say right now to the GTM fans for the educators here? Go ahead, Gung-Ho. Jump in first. Go first.
If I can. Okay, if I speak?
Absolutely.
Look, that naked mole rat in the bottom corner has got a few points, okay, about MDM and ourselves, all right? Maybe we're a bit too distracted with each other in that match, all right? I'll give you that. I think me and MC2 are two of the most intelligent wrestling scene we operate. It is just a showcase of intellect, all right? But even then, I also think perhaps, and maybe this is just me, but I get a bit too aggressive, and maybe I got a bit too aggressive and a bit too stuck on MDM. And I tell you what, if me and MC2 are the most intelligent wrestlers in the UK wrestling scene, two of the most unintelligent wrestlers in the UK wrestling scene are the ones below us, okay? Because they got so wrapped up in their own aggression, all right? They got so wrapped up in their hatred for me and MC2 that Joel Cobra stopped looking at where his tag team partner was, getting pinned, mind you, and grabbed my tag team partner MC2 and stopped him from breaking up the pin. So yeah, when I say that our opportunities at those titles got stolen from us, Tom Bryce, I mean it, because my tag team partner literally got held down and stopped from breaking up a pin that was to the detriment of the man who held him down. So yes, we did have it stolen from us. You know what? You say all you want about, the working class militia came into GTM and they beat us both, and that's it. We're back the back of the line now. The ones who got pinned should be at the back of the line. The ones who cost us and made it so we couldn't break up the pin should be at the back of the line. The educators should be still at the front of the line. We should get a tag team match with the working class militia for those belts, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, that's up. But see, I hear you on some of those things, but to be objective, that's up to the working class militia. They came into your house and they won. That would be up to the Forbidden Door. That's up to management. That's up to the champions. I mean, you want to jump
fight them tomorrow. We would fight them tomorrow. So whoever needs to make the match, whenever it's going to happen, make it. We want to fight.
So that would certainly be between the GTM management if they want to allow the educators to be in the ring. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, we can do that. Or let's be honest, we don't need a ring to settle this. We don't need sanctions to settle this. We'd meet them in a car park to fight them.
It might be more entertaining than the last Canelo fight. I mean, that could be the case. I mean, and we've got some more comments before I get to old school MC2. Bradley Cook Pattinson says the educators couldn't educate themselves into winning anything. Simon Williams says, how's Joel Cobra after getting put through the wall at the GTM show by MC2? We'll get to MC2 in a second. And we have here, no justice needed. He came and he dominated. I mean, listen, that speaks for itself. Tommy Diamond, I want to give a big shout out to Tommy Diamond. He says his CCW is all about the elite establishment, not top tier. And as the crown jewel of the elite at NCB, I'll be bringing the light in the dark championship home on the 27th. You guys want to respond to that before I get to a few other comments related to MC2?
Yeah, I'll respond to that. I'll respond to that.
Sure.
Who's Tommy Diamond?
Jobber.
He ain't on this show. Don't come on here, son, and plug yourself. You'll get your time. This is our time. So wind your neck in, because we will be seeing you very soon, Tommy. And I've slapped you before. I'll slap you again.
Fair points here. Fair points here. And Mr. Diamond,
If you want to talk to Tommy Diamond, and I'm sure he's got a lot to say, talk to his people and get him on.
We're actually had some feedback from his representatives. They seem like they want him to come on. So we're working on that.
Well, I'm sure his daddy will be paying you a lot of money for his appearance.
Well, it's illegal to take payolas, I would remind people. So certainly
it's nothing to do with us.
Well, that's a fair point. And let's get to somebody that might be related to Mr. Old School MC2 here. He says here, Academy of Agony can't even tie shoelaces or count to three, never mind winning championships. He also says, Academy of Agony can't count to three or tie shoelaces, never mind winning championships.
This guy corrected himself.
Well,
just learn English first
time. We spelled never mind wrong.
Well, that would be related to Mr. Old School MC2. And Old School MC2, I mean, do you want to respond? Do you want to respond to some of these comments? I mean, obviously, you heard what your tag team partner said a few minutes ago. And before I get to the modern day Mafia, I'm going to give you the floor.
Well, like my partner said, how thick is your Cobra? I could have broke that count. He stole it. He stole our championship run. He just took it away from us. He took it away from his own partner, in fact. He's that dumb. And I say, I agree with Militia up to a point. I am distracted with Mr. Cobra. I've been distracted with Mr. Cobra for a very, very long time. And until I get rid of Cobra, I probably will still be concentrating on him. But that being said, if they were out of the picture and world class militia and the educated were to face one-on-one in a tag team situation, they were out of the picture, it'd be a different case altogether. I'm sure the educators will come out on top. So, yeah.
Sorry, I can't.
And well, I'm not done yet. I want to comment about what you just said about we can't contribute to entire shoelaces when you can't even write properly. Really, Kieran? You want to say that to us? Brave man.
Well, I'll tell you what about Kieran. We're going to get to hear Kieran's side of the story Monday night on Sportswire Radio. So he's going to be on, and he's probably going to have a lot to say about your Old School MC2. So you're going to you're going to want to stay tuned to that. It's going to be right around 8 o'clock British Standard Time here, live here on Facebook and everywhere else. So certainly we're going to hear from Mr. Kieran undoubtedly here. But listen, before I get to the modern day Mafia, Old School MC2, we spoke with you last week. And we spoke about the fact how big this was for your career, though, to win this championship. You didn't win it, though. And we knew that it was going to – you didn't win it.
We didn't get pinned, though. We didn't get pinned.
But you didn't win. But the point here, though, is that you didn't win this match. This was as big of a championship opportunity as you're going to get for your career. You knew that the modern day Mafia and you guys did not like each other. That has been the feud, and Bradley said it on the call this past Saturday. This has been the feud of professional wrestling here for almost a year now. I mean, you had to not know that modern day Mafia was going to try to distract you. You had to stay focused on Slugger and his tag team partner.
You tell us that. I wasn't distracted. I was held back. I was held back by Cobra.
And what about during the match when you were mostly getting hit by the modern day Mafia? You weren't too much focused on the working class militia. They had a job to do and they won. So what do you say about all this? What do you say? Because we still don't see you with the goal. We really thought, because you were the last person that we had on here for this match. You represented the educators, and we walked away from it feeling like, you know what? Maybe the educators do have a plan. Maybe the educators here are going to find a way and roll up their sleeves and get the job done. But I'm looking at it right now. They've got the gold.
We didn't quite get the job done on that occasion. I will admit that. I will admit the plans did not go to plan as we wanted them to go. I'll admit that as well. But, like I said before, if somebody hadn't held me back, would have broken the count, which would have given us the opportunity to then pin and win. Once the conclusions locked in, it's over and done.
Let me
We
bring
are where we are.
Let me
Sorry
bring
to
it-
interrupt. Sorry to interrupt. a
because
minute.
I got to get to the modern day mafia. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
I want to get. I'm sorry, boys. You deserve to have your chance. I'm sorry, but I just want to ask MC2 one more thing. MC2, when you looked at me in that ring, face to face with you, and you looked me up and down, and you thought, I really shouldn't be here. Let's be honest. Do you honestly think, son, you could beat me? Think about it. You look at me and you look at you. Do you honestly think you could beat a juggernaut like me?
I'm thinking still. Hang on. I'm still thinking.
I will
Still thinking. Yes, I could.
Well, then, do you know what, son? You're gonna, after you've done thinking this, you're gonna wake up and you're gonna have your cereal in the morning because it's all been a dream.
That was
In
it.
no universe anywhere would MC2 and Gung-Ho Muttley beat the working class militia.
And then you woke up from your dream and you started always holding your championships over your heads.
Sunshine, this is very real.
That's the
This
most
is
prized
very
possession right now
real.
in all of wrestling. And they do have it. I want to get to the modern day mafia. And I got some comments, but I got to get them in the ring. Joel, you've heard a lot now from the educators. You even heard a little bit from the working class militia. It's your turn now to respond to these comments.
MC2, you got in my way. Yes, I let my anger blind me. Yes, I did cost me and Dave Douglas the championship to lay my hands on you. Anger did blind me, but the next time we meet, it's going to be more than anger, son. I'm going to hurt you more.
Oh,
really?
Yes, really, boy.
Oh.
Now you listen good. Yeah. Me and you, we're gonna stand toe to toe. I'm gonna have to pick your broken ass up off the floor to beat you. Because let's face it, I am. Not only am I gonna beat you, I'm gonna end your career.
Oh, really?
You understand me? Yeah, that's right. And Gung-Ho, I don't know why you're wasting your time with this man. Come on, you're better than this. Now, Slugger, me and you, we went toe-to-toe. I'll show you some respect. You know, you can bang, boy. You can bang. However, Onyx, let's face it, he wouldn't have that belt over his shoulder if it wasn't for you cheap shotting my boy, Dave Douglas, with that belt. So, fighting champion. I've watched the footage. You don't know what I mean? You don't see the footage?
There ain't no instant replay rule in professional wrestling.
No, 1, 2, 3 got counted.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
What the
got counted
crowd
because the
saw
referee
that
didn't see
night,
it.
what you saw, what them two numpties above you saw, what the crowd saw that night was me hitting your boy with a death rattle, 1, 2, 3, and still CCW Tag Team Champions, the working class militia. That's what the crowd saw. That's what Tom saw. That's what all you lot saw. Oh, sorry, you didn't see that because you were too busy stopping your partner from getting pin broke up, stopping MC2 from breaking up pin. Because your anger, my anger got blinded. My anger. That's what I was saying at the beginning of the show, mate. What I was saying, you clouded. Finish this beef and then come and see us because we want a proper fight. And we put a war on that night, boys. All of us, 6 of us. I will not take that away from any of us. But we want more.
And so do we.
So show us.
Bring it on.
Well, I'm going to throw something out here in a second, but let me get to a few more comments. Claire Wilkinson says, and working class militia will keep winning no matter what you put in front of them, top tier. That certainly seems to be the case. Kieran says, go for that knee, Cobra, mixed squared in the mud. We've also got Simon Williams. MC2 even tried launching Cobra through the wall, and he still can't keep the big man down. We're going to be hearing about this wall thing, and we saw, for those, go back and watch the tape on YouTube. Time to pack up MC2 and go home. Bluegrass's Girl, shout out to Bluegrass's Girl. You can follow her, of course, on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. She says, Joel is spitting some bare threats. Should have heard what they were saying backstage Saturday. Some of it wasn't broadcastable. Bradley says Slugger's making a good point. We have also here educators might have gone on a C- on that night, but they are A+ wrestlers and will smash it next time. So Bluegrass's Girl is actually giving you the benefit of the doubt here. So maybe that means something for the next event. And Kieran says the educators question a bit ironic, isn't it? How can you be educators if you can't count to 3? Wow, that is definitely some big, very, very, very big words from a big man. But you know what? We've also got another comment here, and obviously some might know this individual, and he says here, keep it inside the ring next time. Yeah, well, he's got his own issues in the ring or outside the ring, but we'll
That's
leave
where
that.
we always keep it. The militia know where to keep it, where business is done.
I'm going to throw something out there, and this is almost like another one of those CM Punk pipe bomb moments here, and because I'm hearing a lot about what everybody's saying from the GTN side. CCW doesn't have to prove anything, right? They walked through the forbidden door, and they got the job done. For the CCW fans here, for their defense, they came through and they won, right? Chris Onyx has got his gold. Slugger Hampton's got his gold. They're champions. They walked into GTM's house. So I'm going to throw something out there because we still have this forbidden door, right? The forbidden door is still open between Mr. Barris and obviously management and GTM. So I see what these teams are about right now here on Sportswire Radio. And I'm going to throw this out there. Mr. Barris can digest it. GTM management can digest it. Mr. Angel can digest it. Whoever else may want to. But why not have a GTM Tag Team Championship? And let's throw it out there, right? Let's throw it out here for Sportswire Radio. Let's be matchmakers here. Let's throw it out here, right? The militia might want more gold, right? They want to show and prove that they're the most dominant champions in all of wrestling, right? The educators, from their standpoint, they feel that they didn't get pinned, so they should still get another crack at a championship shot. The modern day Mafia, Mr. Douglas and Mr. Cobra, they showed that they were pretty dominant, and they certainly have a strong case also to be tag team champions. So I'm going to throw it out there, especially for GTM management. Why don't we go out there and give the people what they want? Let's give the GTM fans what they want, the CCW fans out there what they want, top tier, working class militia, let them what they want, the educators, the modern day Mafia, and let's have a GTM Tag Team Championship, and let's put these teams back in the ring, and let's see who walks away as champions. What does everybody think here?
I think you're going to cost GTM a lot of money. That's
well,
what I think you're
if
going to
they
do,
don't
Tom.
have the money, we'll come up with it here. I'll tell you what. If they don't have the money, and I have a GTM comment for management, but if they can't come up with the money, we'll come up with the money here on Sportswire Radio. Mark my words. We'll make it happen here. Yeah. If they can't, we'll do it.
Listen, we'll just respond first quick before these guys. We'll fight these guys every single week. Like I said, we've got respect for them. It's just unfortunate. And I don't blame them for doing this, but they didn't listen to us when we said we were going to get the job done. And pride does that to a man because he doesn't want to admit that he's going to lose before he steps into the ring. But unfortunately, that was always going to be the case. But that doesn't change the fact that we respect these 4 guys and we fight them every week because we put on a war that night.
I'm just going to jump in myself because you keep saying you'll fight us tomorrow, you'll fight us next week. Who are you going to fight us with? Where's your boy?
Don't worry about that. Listen, there's one thing you don't know, Sunshine, because you don't know us that well, but the militia are many. You don't need to worry. And tomorrow night, people are going to be lucky enough if they're in the show. I'm going to speak about this show a bit later, but tomorrow night we're going to debut a new member of the militia, and it's an exciting time. We are many.
We're going to get to that actually in a few short minutes because I want to get right to the chase here and get to that because we certainly want to promote what the working class militia are doing. We certainly want to make sure.
Can you block this guy? Block him. He's an idiot. He's the ring announcer for CCW. He got his hands on Mr. Barris, and we told him not to. And then when he did, we smashed his face in. He should not be commenting here. Get gone, Taylor.
And Joshua Ellaby says, make a second old school championship and make the educators the old school tag team champions. Well, that could be, but let's get to GTM management because GTM management has responded to what we have to say. And I don't know if it's going to make anybody happy, or it's going to be kind of a mixed bag, but we'll see what we think. Tag team championships, a women's championship, and an academy championship are all planned for year 2 of GTM in the Fountains Church. So we have that, I guess, so we can look forward to that.
All 3 of them.
What's that?
I'll win all 3 of them.
All 3, including the women's.
Is that possible? I mean, certainly.
No.
I'm gonna plead the
Yeah,
fifth
it's
on it.
possible. Listen, there's no division I can't walk into and stomp heads, all right? I will win all gold. You just wait.
We certainly got the hair for it.
Yeah,
Scrub.
Fountains.
Gungo Butley in a dress.
Well, I mean, I'm going to say no comment on the women's championship part. I mean,
Yeah.
let's take one championship
Gabriella
at a time. Here.
Motley.
Let's take one championship at a time here. He says, bring it on here from Bradley Cook Pattinson. So I want to get to the working class militia because you do have an announcement, and I think it's important that we talk about what's going to go on here tomorrow. We have a big day planned for you guys here. Obviously, you guys are very busy individuals. You've taken time out of your days to be with us here live in this showdown. So tell us, for those that are watching and listening, what's going to go down here tomorrow night.
Tomorrow, the working class militia are going to be appearing for the first time ever. And I mean ever. It's going to be at the Summertime Slaughterhouse, NSAW. And yeah, my boy Briley might be out, but we are many, like I say. So tomorrow night, we're going to be the debut of the newest member of the militia, someone who's been in training for a while, because again, we are a militia. We have people wanting to join, trying to prove themselves every single day. And this guy, Caleb Jackson, will be debuting tomorrow night. This guy is 6'10". This guy is nearly 300 pounds. And you thought I was a juggernaut, which I am. This guy is a mammoth. And you're going to see him tomorrow night, non-stop action wrestling, Summertime Slaughterhouse.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard something here I'd be terrified if I'm across the apron from Caleb Jackson. 6'10", 300 pounds. This right now, ladies and gentlemen, not only is he the newest member of the working class militia, he's very well arguably now the most dangerous big man in all of professional wrestling, to the fact that he's 6'10", 300 pounds. Listen, you thought Joe Cobra was big? You thought Goliath was big? You thought Balachius in the LWF was big? You thought Mustafa Khan was big, who we saw in the apron at GTM's Fatal 5-Way match last week? Forget about all of them, because Caleb Jackson, the working class militia have just proven that they might even be a little smarter than the educators, because 6'10", 300 pounds, I'm terrified. Listen, tomorrow night at Nonstop Action Wrestling, and you got to go out there, make sure for the Summertime Slaughterhouse, you go out there and buy a ticket, because tickets are still available. Slugger, I see you wanting to come in, jump in.
The debut of Caleb Jackson in the working class militia is something that's going to want to be seen. Non-stop Action Wrestling is lucky and blessed that this debut is going to happen for them. If you are not there and you haven't got a ticket for this, you're going to miss out. Oh, and there it is. Yet another universal truth. So make sure you're there.
I
The
would
titles
definitely
will
want
be
to
there. I
make
want to
sure.
say the titles are going to be in attendance for all the shit munchers to have a look at and hold and take pictures with, if we allow them to. But they're only for show, because the Northern Warriors, who are our opponents tomorrow night, and we've never even heard of these guys, so they've got to prove what they're worth. They beat us tomorrow night, then they'll be in line for a shot at these as well.
Well, that certainly confirms it, ladies and gentlemen. Here it looks like our GTM tag teams, the Educators and the Modern Day Mafia, very well could be at the back of the line here for those CCW Tag Team Championships held by the Working Class Militia, and, of course, Nonstop Action Wrestling. If you want to come out there tomorrow night and see the Summertime Slaughterhouse and see the top tier and the Working Class Militia in the house, please go on Instagram to NSAW Official to find out. You can get more information. You can also go to buy a ticket and see this action. Forget about buying a ticket to Double or Nothing. Forget about your American trip to SummerSlam. Forget all that stuff. If you want to buy a ticket, you can go to ticketsource.co.uk /stop/action/wrestling. So one more time, www.ticketsource.co.uk /non-stop-action-wrestling. You can buy a ticket because you will see Old School MC2 there. You will also see the Working Class Militia there. You will see many, 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 many more competitors there. I am telling you, if you like CCW, if you like GTM or any other wrestling company that we cover here on Sportswire Radio, I can promise you, you would definitely want to go tomorrow to the Summertime Slaughterhouse. Because, listen, last weekend we were packed, right? We had KOW, GTM, we had the LWF, but this weekend there's no excuse. Make sure you get out there. Also, Sophia will come. Go ahead.
Can I jump in there?
Absolutely.
At the Slaughterhouse, Old School is definitely going to be there. And Old School's is issuing an open challenge to anybody who's brave enough in the back to take me on.
Ooh.
So that's something else very good to look forward to.
Mr. Cobra's glasses just went off. Mr. Cobra,
Oh,
I see
Cobra.
your eyes perk up. Would you like to address that open challenge that Mr. Old School MC2 has put out here live on Sports?
I'm afraid he'll probably be doing his hair or something with Cobra, or brushing his beard or something. Doing eyes, maybe.
Maybe just beating your ass in your own ring. Who knows?
Mr. Douglas, you have any thoughts here? You've been kind of the man that's kind of, I guess, the Teddy Roosevelt, you might want to say, of this stream. Certainly you're maybe going to carry a big stick here and maybe talk very quietly, but the floor is yours if you want to say anything of this.
Yeah, I'm sitting here listening to people talk, and a lot of the talk about the match, putting down Joel Cobra, saying he wasn't in there for me. I know he's got me back. He's always with me. Okay. You see this thing, they're trying to divide us because they know we're too strong together. If you look around the country, if you look at the tag teams around the country, okay, there isn't that many that got any class whatsoever. You're looking at, there's no real, barely any real tag teams going on. Working Class Militia, a real tag team. Educators, to be fair, you work together. You know, you're making yourself into a tag team. But you look at it, you can't find guys with real tag teams who are real working together. It's just two guys who put themselves together, looking to get themselves some gold. They see a tag team title and think, oh, we'll just team up with some random guy backstage. Okay, but we're a team. Okay, we've known each other for years.
And well, Cobra held me back.
So I guess, will we see Mr. Cobra at Nonstop Action Wrestling tomorrow? Because the open challenge has been put out there. I mean,
we'll have to wait and see what we see, won't we?
Well, that's also a reason why you might want to buy a ticket tomorrow night to Nonstop Action Wrestling. You definitely want to buy a ticket. We've got another about 5 or 10 minutes here more with the CCW Tag Team Champions, one half of those champions. That is, of course, Mr. Slugger Hampton, also of top tier. We have the CCW reigning, defending world champion, the Slam Beast, the biggest man of them all, Mr. Chris Onyx. And look at the size of this man, ladies and gentlemen. This man is a champion that I would certainly not want to meet in a darkened alley right now. I would certainly not want to meet this man, certainly when there's a heavy storm right now we have in New York, because this man will definitely come down like thunder and lightning and some. We have
There's a reason is the Slam Beast.
The Slam Beast. The Slam Beast is here, and certainly I don't want to get on his bad side, and nobody should want to get on his bad side. You definitely want to follow his page also on Facebook and follow him on Twitter as well. We have the Educators. Old School MC2 was declared war on the Nonstop Action Wrestling roster and some with his open challenge tomorrow night. NSAW official on Instagram to find out more information on that. Certainly, Old School MC2 is not done here when it comes to this weekend and more wrestling ahead of him. We've got up-and-coming star here, Gung Ho Muttley, who's certainly here. He's made his points made as to very well, could he be a tag team champion at GTM? Could he be an academy champion? And could he even be a women's champion, which I'm still trying to a little bit perplexed on that, but we'll give
Easily.
him certainly the objective view on that.
We're in
And we've got
2022. Anything can happen. Anything can
Exactly.
happen. All right?
I'm going to
Times
plead
are
the fifth.
trucking on.
I'm going to plead the fifth on that one when it comes to the women's championship. Certainly, you can make a case for the other two belts. And the modern-day Mafias, Dave Douglas, who certainly may not talk, but he certainly very well have the biggest words of anybody else here. And, of course, Joel Cobra, who, of course, you've heard on commentary from GTM shows, and also the other half of the modern-day Mafia. And if you like what you hear from CCW, please go to the Facebook page. Continue to support CCW. They have a big event coming up here right at this time next Friday. You're also going to have a top tier stream. Top tier does their own streams on the CCW Facebook group. I think it's usually Tuesdays around
Tuesday,
7:30.
7:30 British time.
Yep, Tuesday,
Yeah.
7:30. Make sure you definitely follow, support. Even if you don't catch it live, definitely go back. I've watched some of the stuff. I've been loving what CCW has to offer. You definitely want to support CCW. GT Ministries UK, also Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Cannot thank enough GTM for their continued support and friendship. Blue Glasses Girl, want to support and thank her for everything she does for us. And more comments in here. Kieran Hayes says, watch your back, MC2. Goliath just may be in attendance. So that could be Monday night. I could be hearing from Goliath talking about old school MC2. That could very well be in the cards.
Nah.
Claire Wilkinson
chance.
says, oh, this is
Will
a
be in
funny one.
attendance,
I'm
okay?
going to make
You know how
probably
you-
everybody laugh. Gung-Ho, let me read the comment first. Claire Wilkinson says, old school looks like he's off Breaking Bad. Is that the look he's going for?
Wow.
If so, you've nailed it.
So old, so old.
MC2 will not get the W. He will continue and get the L as the L comes before a win. Now that's education for the educators. Give MC2 the respect he deserves.
Thank you.
I've learned a lot from him and Mr. Muttley. Kieran Hayes says, makes sense. Gung-Ho wants a women's championship with that soccer mom's hair. Ooh, go and respond, Gung-Ho Muttley.
Well, everybody talks about their hair, okay? These locks are luscious, okay? I'm not having these bald idiots below me talking about my hair, okay? They wish they could have a tenth of the hair that I have on my head, all right? This is an amazing look, all right? And people are envious of it, especially Kieran Hayes, okay? Goliath, all right? And earlier on, I wanted to comment on it, but you cut me off, Tom, all right? You know, but Goliath will be in a house. You know what he's in attendance doing? Not wrestling. He's security, okay? Because he's not good enough to wrestle. He's a security man, all right?
Wow,
So he can
okay.
stop running his mouth. He's going to come on your podcast to try and get a bit of a name for himself, but he's no wrestler. He's a security guy, and he will stay that way because he's not good enough to share the ring with the likes of me, with the likes of MC2, with the likes of the working class militia. Okay, we're real wrestlers. Kieran Hayes, aka Goliath, is a security man who makes sure that everything's in order for us to get in that ring and sell the actual tickets. Okay, so keep blabbing, Goliath.
I'll
All
tell
right,
you what, I
you'll
mean,
be stood
those
off the side watching our matches.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some strong words there, and reminds me of a Van Halen album, A Different Kind of Truth we got there. Certainly it is a different kind of truth, what we heard there from Gung-Ho Muttley. Maybe that is a truth, and some more comments in here before we get to the gang one more time here. Gung-Ho has the women's championship in the bag. Look at that mane. I mean, hey, listen, I'm going to say no comment on that. Now, what's wrong with his hair, I think, is from Claire Wilkinson.
No,
So
hang on.
Sure.
It's a British word, note, which means nothing's wrong with his hair.
Oh, okay. Oh, fair enough.
She's-
Clearly,
as much as you
My
love
head,
Claire,
no
she's
wrong.
clearly
Thank you,
common.
Claire. Love you,
my
Claire.
apologies. My apologies. Please don't not support.
No,
Sports
there's
Wire.
no way you would have known that, Tom. It's all right, brother.
Okay. We have here Kyle Kennedy. It's true. I wish I had those locks. Kieran has responded. It says, Gung-Ho, you wish you had a tenth of the power that I have.
I am a tenth of the weight you are, as is the average person. Okay, shut your trap. Okay.
Okay, well, that's certainly developing here. And he says Gung-Ho has good looks, but has to paint on his face to hide his face. So,
It's war paint. Okay, it's war paint. All right, it helps
so
me get into the mode. All right.
I guess that would be certainly your way of, I guess, emulating Tatanka or maybe somebody else in the ring. But hey, Whatever
A
works. But
plonker.
if it's
It's a
successful,
plonker.
Not
I don't know about
Tatanka.
Tatanka, but he's a plonker.
well, I mean, hey, listen. I mean, obviously
Probably pretty funny,
that's for
actually.
everybody else here, but I know what time
I have
is
to
coming
call
up.
people eventually.
I know what time is coming up here. I know that we're all getting ready for huge things in the pikes here. I know the working class militia are going to be at Nonstop Action. I'm sorry, you're going to be at Nonstop Action Wrestling tomorrow. Old School MC2 has put his challenge out there. Gung Ho Muttley has said he'll be there. Who knows what else he's going to do? We'll know about the modern day Mafia. Who knows where they may show up? They may take up that offer. Who certainly will know here. And one more comment before I get to everything else. Word to the wise, if you will. Don't annoy your security guard, Gung Ho. So that's that point. And then Bluegrass's girl is chimed in here, is saying, "Funny how you all think it's the hair and makeup that impacts your wrestling. Let's wait and see for the real women to get in the ring. At least they know to stay inside the ring." So I guess we'll find out. Bluegrass's girl makes a very good point. Certainly, Kieran is upset because he says 1/10 of the weight. Well, that's going to be tough for you when this big boy comes crashing down on you, Muttley. Now, Muttley, are you putting an open challenge tomorrow night?
So I will be supporting my mentor MC2 in his open challenge, okay? Which I'm sure he will absolutely decimate anyone who comes from our locker room. You know,
Now, correct me
any
if I'm wrong. You
wrestlers.
said anyone? Now, correct me. Is it anyone?
Anyone?
Any wrestlers, you know, NSAW or beyond, anyone who wants to have a crack at that open challenge can come forward. It's their funeral, okay?
All right.
And I'll be watching, all right? I'll be cheering on my boy, and I'll be watching him put that person to sleep, whoever it is, okay?
All right. So those are some great points there.
What's
So
he
that
going to
could
do?
be
Talk to him?
That could be
Oh,
anybody. So that could be from any
Okay.
company. It could even be, listen, if you're a released wrestler right now in WWE or an Impact, or if you don't have any dates going on for any other company, you are allowed to show up. And another comment has been made here. We have a big comment, which I have to get to because this could change the landscape of the open challenge, because this is somebody right now who is certainly somebody to be reckoned with right now in GTM. And I have to show up his comment on the screen here. And that is, of course, Mr. Gareth Angel, the former GTM world champion. He had put a question mark here.
What a
Open challenge.
surprise.
Open challenge.
So would that include Mr. Angel? If Mr. Angel would want to bring the Angels Army, would you allow him to enter that open challenge, Mr. Old
Yes.
School MC2?
Bring it on.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you needed more proof to go to Nonstop Action Wrestling tomorrow, when you've got the working class militia, now you've got the challenge laid out here by Old School MC2. Clearly, you need to get your head examined. Clearly, you have problems if you are not following Nonstop Action Wrestling here. And now we've got more people that want to enter. Pride says, how open? Are you
How
sure you
open's
wanted to
open?
announce this here, Old School MC2 on Sportswire Radio? Were you sure you wanted to do this? Because you walked into one, it seems, tonight.
I've got nothing to prove. I could take anybody on any
Right.
given night. So open means open.
Would you want Mr. Angel? Would you want Mr. Cobra? Would you want anybody here on the stream to enter? Would you want Mr. Hayes, Mr. Goliath? I mean, is there anybody that you'd say, you know what? You can forever have your peace. If you don't say it, would you like to have anybody that you wouldn't want to answer that challenge?
I wouldn't want. Ooh, no.
How about Chris Onyx? That would be my obvious one, the CCW World Champion. I would not want the Slam Beast to enter that challenge because
That's
looking at
why
the
I
size
didn't.
of him,
That's why I didn't mention my name when he said, "Who would you like to face in the open challenge?" He didn't mention my name because he is already too scared of me.
Scared. Is that what I'm looking scared? Am I?
Challenge, Chris.
You
You last more
run
than
like a
2
little
minutes this
girl.
time in the match.
You what?
For me,
Don't lower yourself.
Slam Beast would destroy them. From Claire Wilkinson. That's the comment here. So
Slam Beast destroy a
you were
few
on my
people.
side a minute ago.
Them. So I've destroyed multiple. Both of them. That's right.
well, I'll tell you what here. Certainly, I would not want to be in the ring with the Slam Beast, Chris Onyx, our reigning, defending CCW World Champion. But before we get...
Sorry, let me just stop you 1 minute, Tom, and I'm sorry about this, but I want to tell you a little story.
Sure. Absolutely.
4 years ago, Slugger Hampton and the Slam Beast Chris Onyx went to war with each other in a last man standing match, and it got heavy, and we both bled, and we both sweat, but we didn't cry. And after that match, we had the respect for each other. See, that's the difference between the militia and top tier and the mafia and the educators. We are prepared to bleed together against and with. And that's how we know we're brothers. And that's how we know we can always trust each other to get the job done.
Before we get closing thoughts, I want to go around the room and get a thought or two from everybody on what's to come after this. Because obviously we learned a lot here tonight. We learned a lot that the educators and the modern day mafia aren't done by a long shot. We've learned right now that the working class militia may be more dangerous, lethal, and stronger than ever. So we've learned a lot tonight. We've learned a lot about in terms of what we're going to see in the immediate future and certainly a sense of what could potentially happen here in the long term. But I'm going to go to the educators here first because there is June 11th upcoming, which is going to be our next wrestling church here for GTM. GT Ministries UK for more information. Remains to be seen what the CCW champions will do when it comes to that. But the educators, I'm going to go to you, Old School MC2 and Gung Ho, in terms of whatever you want to say here. What will we expect to see from you guys June the 11th? Will we see you guys in action? Will we see, I don't know, anything else between you guys and the modern day mafia? I'm going with Old School MC2 first.
As far as I know, on that day, we are not booked for some strange reason. I don't know why, but we're not booked. So I can't have any thoughts on that. But as for us in the modern day mafia, no, we are not done by a long shot. Not by a long shot. Not until I bury Joe Cobra. I mean, bury. Then it'll be over.
Bring it.
Then it'll be over. So we do need a match. And we do need a final conclusion to all of this. We just need somebody in a management position who's brave enough to put it on. That's what we need.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll certainly make the case here because we've got another couple of weeks until Wrestling Church, and we'll certainly make that loud and clear here, and we're willing to give an open platform for that. Gung Ho Muttley, same question for you.
Well, as MC2 just said, we're not we won't be there. Oh well. Plenty of time in the future to smash the heads in at the MDM. All right. You know what? As I said earlier, Slugger's got a great point. Okay. We are way too built hatred for each other to focus on anything else right now. And I don't want to lose more championship opportunities, which I'm sure me and MC2 will get. And you know what? I'll give it to them, which I'm sure the MDM will get. Because I might regret saying this, but they are a good tag team. All right. And they are good competitors. They're stupid, and I hate them, but does not mean they're better than us, and we will best them when we finally come to blows, and it will happen sooner rather than later. Okay?
All right.
That's all I have to say.
All right. Well, certainly those are some important words here, and we've got some comments. The educators aren't booked because Muttley is currently stuck in a washroom appliance. We've also had here.
What my mic sounds like.
Well, I mean, that's here nor there, but let me get to the modern day mafia.
Tesco value internet, son.
Let me get to the modern day mafia here real quick before I get to the champions and we get out of here and move on. So for you guys, the modern day mafia, same question. We have Wrestling Church coming up June the 11th. What's your thoughts on immediate plans and anything else you want to address? Certainly, I'm sure the comments of the educators are on the minds. I'll go with Mr. Cobra first and Mr. Douglas.
You're right. I will agree with MC2. We aren't finished. It'll be finished when I retire you. That's when it's going to be over, MC2. Gung Ho, you're young. You've got a career ahead of you. I don't want to be the one that ends you. I really don't. But I will, if I have to. Now, as for the CCW Tag Team Champions, you've got your big show coming up. Yeah? Might have to get a ticket. Might have to see you boys in action. You know what? Might even make an appearance herself. Depends what DD's doing that day.
As long as you pay for that ticket, boy, everything's fine.
Pay for it. I'll pay to see you get your ass whooped. Don't
You'll be
worry
paying a
about
lot
that.
more than that, son.
Ladies and
No.
gentlemen, go ahead. Okay.
No,
well,
go on.
certainly, I was almost afraid to follow that up. And Bluegrass's Girl also gives us here Facebook information, Modern Day Mafia, MDM, to follow them, like their page. Also, Gareth Angel, pro wrestler. Make sure you like his page. Also, Bluegrass's Girl, like her page on Facebook as well. So those are some more great sources. Who knows? Mr. Angel might be there answering Mr. Old School MC2's challenge. It could be GTM versus GTM tomorrow. I mean, certainly stay tuned for that. But Mr. Douglas, Wrestling Church is coming up June the 11th. Obviously, I'm sure you've heard the thoughts from the educators and your tag team partner, and I'm going to give you the floor for the immediate future and plans. Anything you'd like to say, anybody listening and watching right now?
Yeah, well, we are, as of now, we're not booked for the 11th and thing, but we need to have that final battle. Us v the educators needs to happen. And they can move, they can lick the wounds and they can move on. And then Joel Cobra and myself, we can go on to bigger and better things.
All right. Well, that was pretty much short, sweet, simple, and to the point. Now, I'm going to get to maybe the most important words we're going to get here tonight, because they are going to be in action here also this weekend and certainly next Friday at this time at the National Culinary Bowl. We've also heard from Mr. Cobra. He is going to be in attendance. Remains to be seen what happens there. But let me go to one half of our reigning defending CCW Tag Team Champions, Mr. Slugger Hampton, of course, also of top tier, and then also the Slam Beast, the reigning defending CCW World Champion, Chris Onyx. Anything you guys want to say between now and tomorrow night, and certainly next Friday? I know we also have a stream Tuesday. Also, feel free to plug that as well. And floor is yours for both of you guys.
I'm going to let the champ speak first, and I'm going to let him tell you all why he will remain heavyweight champion of CCW.
Next Friday, National Culinary Bowl. I've been putting a match against Palmer, the unnecessary evil.
It's not necessary.
It's not necessary. That's one thing, we agree on there, Joel Cobra. It's definitely not necessary. And it's going to go the same way as the last time. I will be walking out still your CCW heavyweight champion after I put Palmer's teeth through the canvas. He's not going to know what's hit him.
And I'll say this in closing, and I want all you four to listen to me. The next time we meet, whenever that is, I'm going to apologize to you already, because the morning after our match, you're going to lay in your bed and you're going to question whether you've got what it takes to make it in this business anymore. And that is not our intention. But what you have to understand is we will do whatever we have to do to remain at the top of our game. You gave us a war and we thank you. But next time, it's a different story. Because although we walk out CCW Tag Team Champions still, you guys don't walk out at all.
Ladies and gentlemen, the most impactful words here we might have heard tonight and all week on Sportswire Radio. And of course, Bluegrass's Girl also gives us an important page to get more information on the working class militia. Make sure you go there, get more information on them. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you hear before we get out of here on all these great teams and what they do. And also, Dave Douglas has commented saying that his Wi-Fi has been infected by Gung Ho Muttley, so he's off the stream. So apparently, Gung Ho Muttley has disqualified Dave Douglas. That's what he says here. We'll throw the comment up in here. Apparently, Dave Douglas has been disqualified. So he lost in the match for the Tag Team Championships, and now he lost his Wi-Fi connection. So it has been a tough week for Mr. Douglas, to say the least. But all kidding aside here, Working Class Militia, go follow their page one more time from Bluegrass's Girl. Thank you for this page. Go get them more information. Some more comments in here, and we'll throw them off here real quick. So let's get to closing thoughts here before we get out of here. I'm going to go to the educators first. Guys, I want to give you any closing thoughts, anything you want to plug, anything you want to share, and I'll go with Old School MC2 first, and I can't thank you enough, and good luck tomorrow at that open challenge. Looking forward to recapping that here in the next few weeks, and the floor is yours, and fire away.
Oh, basically, I will plug NSAW show for tomorrow. Sometimes Slough, you will see me. You'll see my ex-student there with me. Also see militia down there. I hope to see everybody down there and buy tickets for that. And in closing, Cobra, I just can't wait to kick your ass one more time, boy. I really can't wait.
All right.
All for you, Muttley. All for you, mate.
Well, here, make sure that you watch NSAW Summertime Slaughterhouse tomorrow. If you can't catch it on the day, then it's going to be up on YouTube soon anyway before then. So you can always watch us kick ass on there. And also, check out another great wrestling company, Blackheart Wrestling. I wrestle there. It's an amazing wrestling show. Make sure you check that out too. Okay? It's over in Guiseley, Leeds. So give Blackheart Wrestling a shot as well.
Okay, and we've just followed them also. So if you want to follow them, more information, you can go to Blackheart Wrestling UK on Instagram. Make sure you support them. Wonderful wrestling company. Many friends of the show here are a part of that company, so we want to make sure that we follow them. We also want to follow Old School MC2 and Gung Ho Muttley also on Instagram. Make sure you do that. old.school.mc2 on Instagram. Gung Ho Muttley, like his page, also on Facebook. Gung Ho Muttley, also Gung Ho Muttley on Instagram as well. So those are some great sources. Also, we want to make sure we'll follow the Modern Day Mafia. We'll get them here in a second. So, Joel, you're pretty much representing you and Mr. Douglas because Mr. Douglas had his Wi-Fi basically disqualified by the educators once again. So I give you the floor. The educators won. The educators got a win. And it looks like they did get a win because apparently Mr. Douglas lost. He lost his Wi-Fi. I guess after all, the educators did win. Maybe they in some crazy convoluted way, they got a win. So maybe they made a point here tonight that after all, they didn't lose. But Mr. Cobra, you didn't lose because you're with us here. I give you the floor. Anything you want to plug, you know we love you here. So fire away and the floor is yours.
Keep an eye on our socials. We will be making some appearances, some sooner than later. And yeah, just keep following us and keep checking us out. As for MC2, I'll be seeing you soon. Slugger, I'll see you next Friday.
Ooh, okay. Well, that's certainly good to know. And Modern Day Mafia MDM on Facebook, Instagram. Joel Cobra, please follow him on Twitter as well. You can do that on Instagram as well. Go to Joel Cobra Pro Wrestler. Joel -sign underneath Cobra on Instagram as well. You guys all got different names. Some of them are good, some of them aren't. But follow Joel Cobra, follow the Modern Day Mafia. And by the way, guys, you got good. I like your theme song. Yeah, I have to say it's got a good ringing beat. Whoever made the theme song, I definitely enjoy it. So I will say, the one thing I will say on the Modern Day Mafia, I like the theme song. But we certainly love our champions of CCW because they came, they went, they saw, and conquered. And we certainly are giving the floor here to first, we're going to go with Slugger Hampton, one half of our reigning defending CCW Tag Team Champions, the Working Class Militia, and then we'll go with obviously the Slam Beast. And look at this man right now. I would not want to get him angry. So we'll go with Chris Onyx right afterwards. So Slugger, I give you the floor. Anything you want to plug, anything you want to say, the floor is yours, and I can't thank you enough.
The people who follow us on social media know where to find us. If there's a show in your town soon and the Working Class Militia are on the poster, do yourself a favor and buy a ticket. Come and see what we're all about. Because you ain't going to catch daft little posters on social media begging people to come. They know what's good for them. They'll turn up and watch us do what we do. And as for plugging us, our work speaks for itself. If you're not Slugger Hampton, DB Riley, Caleb Jackson, or Chris Onyx, for God's sake, step up.
Absolutely. Don't disagree with any of that. And it's also devil_of_Derbyshire on Instagram. Definitely give him a follow. Definitely follow CCW. Champ Slam Beast, and obviously Mr. Barris here is tuned in here, and he also says, my boys, he also says, top tier train wreck through the lot of them. So obviously Mr. Barris is happy, and certainly Mr. Barris is basically the man that makes CCW run, so we want to acknowledge him. So Mr. Slam Beast, Mr. Champion, I want to give you the floor. You were certainly our main event here. So anything you want to say, anything you want to plug in, the floor is yours.
It's simple. We do what we say every single time. Slugger does what he says every single time. And that's walk in, dominate, and leave. We do what we want when we want it. And that's just going to carry on up and down the UK because we really don't care who we face. We are looking for the hardest, the toughest champions, contenders, anything, and we do not care. We will take you all on. And that is a promise. We want that fight.
Just please bring us it. Make sure whoever comes up and steps in front of us,
You need to be
bring that fight.
100% stepping in that ring with us.
And we expect nothing less. Thank you, Tom, for having us on tonight.
Thank you.
I'll tell you before we get out of here, KOW, the LWF, Bolton Town Wrestling, Odyssey Pro Wrestling, look at what these champions just said. Any other company that we do work with, look at what they did in GTM. You put them in, your talent, we know them. We're not going to mention those names. If you dare, you want to go in there toe-to-toe with these guys, I guarantee you, you will definitely give a lot of people what they want. Let's continue to keep the forbidden door open. Let's see more companies work with each other, more champions, because right now, I could tell you, CCW has proven that they're a worthy company. GTM has proven that they're a worthy company. They at least want to see their wrestlers out there. So let's make it happen. UKW, BTW, Odyssey, the LWF, KOW, the Kingdom of Wrestling. I mean, there's many, many more other companies out there. They know who they are. We'll continue to talk about them. But in the meantime, we were here on Sportswire Radio tonight with the CCW World Heavyweight Champion, the Slam Beast, Chris Onyx, one half of the CCW Tag Team Champion, Slugger Hampton, also of the Working Class Militia. Both of these individuals who you see right now on our screen are a part of the top tier, one of the premier groups in all of professional wrestling right now. We were also joined by the Educators, Old School MC2, who is going to be in the house of Nonstop Action Wrestling tomorrow night with his open challenge. Gung Ho Muttley, also of the Educators, who will also be in attendance. And we were also joined by the Modern Day Mafia. They've got maybe the coolest song in all of wrestling. They're one of the premier tag teams of GTM, Dave Douglas and Joel Cobra, who you've also heard on commentary here. So I am looking forward to what these guys do in the future. I look forward to having them many, many more times here on Sportswire Radio. And Kieran Hayes says, MC2, just one final thing. I hope you sleep well tonight. Something tells me you will need it. So, I mean, that's the last word in here. That's the last word. GTM is launching a tag team championship. Once you get good enough for the belt, go ahead and challenge for it. Well, listen, we'll see.
He's talking to either of you two, your teams. Do you understand that? Once you get good enough for the belts, you might be able to challenge for them, because he's certainly not speaking to us.
And you know what? They have nothing to prove. They won. They came. They saw and conquered. They went. You can catch them also, again, and Old School MC2 and Gung Ho Muttley and maybe Gareth Angel, maybe Joe Cobra tomorrow night at Nonstop Action Wrestling. And I want to thank everybody that is watching and listening to this on Sportswire Radio. We were joined again by the Educators, the Working Class Militia, top tier in the Modern Day Mafia. I am the host of the Sports Report, the station manager here of Sportswire Radio. The Reverend Tom Bryce will be back here on sportnarium.com/player in a little while with LWF coverage. You can also hear from Wildfire Nate Reese and the Asset Stephen Cross. And we'll be back here Monday night with Odyssey Pro Wrestling and KOW's the Cumbrian Outlaw Rick Marcus. And then we'll be joined by Goliath right afterwards, 8 o'clock. He'll have his day. We'll see about that. But in the meantime, thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. And I am the host of the Sports Report and the station manager here of Sportswire Radio, the Reverend Tom Bryce. Good night, and thank you, everyone.